Men and women, what is the sluttiest thing you have ever done? I got a blowjob while driving with two other couple in the back seat. Funny thing is that one of the chicks in back I ended up marrying later. So, my wife has witnessed me get a blowjob from another woman. I ate a girl's pussy because she lived across the street from the bar and I didn't feel like walking home. I am actually mildly proud of this one. I met a girl on OKC, and we decided to go for drinks. It was a pretty normal date, nothing overly sexual, but she invited me back to her place after paying for drinks. Jiggity. We got there, and her whole personality changed. All she wanted to talk about was ducking. She was telling me a story about a friend who comes over now and then, ties her up, whips her, and then throat ducks her until he comes all over her face. She is clearly open to smattitude, and I am happy to oblige. So, we go to her room, and she gives me really good head, and I duck her in the ass. Yes, I took the hint and finished on her face. Afterwards, it's pretty clear that that's what she wanted, and we're both of the same mind that I can go on home now. I had complimented her on the brand of condoms she used, so as I was getting dressed to leave she handed me a pack and thanked me again. As I was walking to my car, I was giggling as I realized I'd basically been used for sex, and practically paid for the service. TLDR had my bar tab paid for in exchange for giving her some rough anal sex and a facial, was gifted free condoms for the service as well, and asked politely to leave. Edit. A lot of folks are asking me what condoms I recommend. They were Crown condoms, easily available on Amazon. I was at some random hot tub party where I knew no one besides the buddy I went with and I don't think he really knew any of them. I ended up hooking up with one chick in the back of her car, had sex, finished up and left the car. Some other girl comes running up to me asking did you just sleep with her? Apparently she had eyes on me too. I said no, we were just talking. Well, we start fooling around and I got a blowjob. I felt kinda bad but not that bad. This dude had a crush on me for like 8 years. He went into the army, came back still crushing, bought me an Xbox because Christmas was coming up, WTF, and I was like well he's been at this for a while, might as well sleep with him. Usually when I tell the story it goes more like this, slept with a dude for an Xbox, but I guess technically his was slightly less slutty. I slept with him because of an Xbox, not for. See the difference? There's a difference. There's a duckine difference. Okay? I slept with a girl I wasn't attracted to in the slightest because she had a bed and I didn't want to sleep in my friend's truck. The sluttiest thing I've ever done is my ex-girlfriend. I fingered a large girl with a rotting front tooth and whose V smelled bad because she was at my apartment with her hot friend that my brother was currently putting the moves on in the bedroom. I was taking one for the team, which was normal in my crew. What wasn't normal was that the girl knew it and actually said I had to do something to make her feel good or she'd go break up my brother's groove. I wasn't even mad. I was impressed at her use of leverage to get what she wanted. Had sex with 3 Tinder dates consecutively. One was a first date and 2 of them were in cars, all within 1 mile of each other. I'm going to hell. Edit. I meant one right after another, in one afternoon evening. I am female. I ate out my friend while her husband did me doggy. Have also had sex with 2 guys on the same day. Had sex with a stripper I was dating in my barracks bathroom while my roommate had sex with her sister in the next room. Slept with the same woman for 8 years. She lived with me. Went to a bar for lunch with my friend. Got way too hammered, so we start getting flirty, and I need to pee so of course girls travel in packs. So she comes with me. I never peed. I decided to eat her out instead, obviously the more fun option. Next thing we know, there are 4 white-haired ladies wearing their red hat society hats, trying to use the restroom, who walk into our stall. Granted it was wide the duck open, to find a drunken lesbian mess, at like 2 PM on a Wednesday. Talk about a walk of shame. Edit. Holy it ha 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 ha. I got gold for the sloppiest moment of my life. That's goals, if you ask me. Thank you kind stranger. I'm as virgin as olive oil. Please don't ask this NSFW questions, it makes my heart jealous. Slightly overweight male here. Sent a cleavage shot of my moobs to some guy on CSGO in return for some expensive in-game skins. Edit. Holy it. This blew up. Thanks guys. Never thought my most upvoted comment would be me whoring my body for CS skins. It was in fact an M9 Bayonet Boreal Forest in the field tested condition. I basically got it for 50% off. Which I then traded up to a butterfly knife blue steel well worn. Then into betting skins which I lost. My Steam if anyone wants to add me. I lost the knife BTW. Read above for explanation. My last night working at a summer camp a few years ago. After the campers had all gone home, the counselors all went out and got it faced. I drank more than a pint of vodka in a little over 2 hours. I'm a pretty small female. Blacked out. And made out with an unknown number of male counselors at the bar. Then when the bus took us back to camp, I had sex with one of the British counselors in his cabin. When another counselor walked in on us, we left and continued our escapades in the grass in front of the cabin. Afterwards, I walked away, went to a different part of the camp where counselors were mattress sledding down a grassy hill, and drunkenly convinced one of the Australian counselors to go skinny dipping with me. We didn't go skinny dipping, but I did let him do me from behind on the dock. I ended up cutting slits on my knees from the grips on the metal dock. I still have small scars 7 years later. I have no idea what came over me that night. All my ducks were thrown out the window. Thank God I didn't contract anything. Would bathroom party 6 be considered slutty? Met a 19-year-old Sri Lankan girl on the internet. Did ass to mouth on the first date. Never talked to her again. Hit through the cycle on my birthday. Made out with one girl. Got a hand job from another girl. A blow job from a different girl, then had sex with one more. Edit 1. This was my 20th birthday. Edit 2. I guess it doesn't count because I didn't have anal. Edit 3. It's hit for the cycle, not through. Sorry. Sex with 7 different people in 5 days. I was a pretty big slut in college. College was good to me. Edit. Just remembered another one. My ex, who was my roommate at the time, wanted me to meet the guy she started dating. Turned out he was curious about having sex with a guy. So, I take one for the team and partake in an MMF threesome. We DP her. Then I penetrate him. Not good. He gets off. But I didn't. So I wanted to switch positions. He didn't want to. So I went on to Manhunt at 2 AM and walked to a random guy's house to have a sex. Anal on the back of a jet ski. College. Don't really remember because I was 100% blacked out after taking an entire tray of jello shots to myself. But my friends describe it in Lawrence from Office Space's voice, 2 chicks at the same time. Man. They also say they were not pretty, but I was blacked out, so there's as much evidence that they were both Heidi Klums as Mama Junes. Well, I guess having a boyfriend and 2 girlfriends probably counts. I'll assume the downvotes are because you think I'm cheating on someone. Let me ease your fears. We are all dating each other. It's called polyamory. Went to the strip club. This stripper made eye contact with me. Solid 9 body. Maybe a 6 face. She comes and sits on my lap and we get to chatting. Even though I was single, I said that I had a long-term relationship. And my friends were dragging me out. She stayed with me for about an hour. Until she suggested we leave. She left her shift early and said she would pick me up around the corner. Because she couldn't leave with a client. We went back to her place. Had great sex. Then I made her drive me home across town. 2 weeks later I was treated for chlamydia. Friend got some random girl from a dating app to give me a blowjob. I'd never met this girl before and neither had he, but we picked her up and she was rather large, but it felt pretty great. After everything was done we dropped her off and never talked to her again. Didn't even find out her name. MFF threesome. It was wonderful. I really loved watching him duck her and she tasted really nice. The 3 of us had sex several times over the course of a few days. Lots of rope and toys and I loved making them come. Sex with 2 partners in a day. They both knew about it though. Or maybe 6 in a snow fort in a public park during the day. I'm not particularly slutty. More adventurous. When I was 13 I dated and slept with a 16-year-old girl for about 8 months and her mom hated me. 2 months after we broke up I dated and slept with her 13-year-old sister, which lasted 3 months, then right after 16-year-old wanted me again. I'm a girl. Met a girl in a bar in Barbados. Spoke for literally 2 minutes. Didn't even ask her name. Took her to what I thought was a secluded spot on the beach. The whole bar saw me ducking her and cheered when I did the walk of shame back to the bar. The bar was the boatyard. This isn't me, but one of my girlfriends was at a party. She's pretty hot, but she's also really gullible and easy to convince. This guy told her that he was going to kill himself if she didn't give him a blowjob. Then she proceeded to give about a dozen guys blowjobs during the party. Not all at once, though. She contracted HIV a few months ago. I guess this is kinda slutty, but my best friend and I a couple Halloweens ago invited these 2 girls over after most of the parties died down. Next thing you know, we're all in his room taking shots and lines of it. Then I'm ducking one of the girls on the ground and he's got the other on the bathroom counter. Now, I'd ducked this girl before and she was just boring at times. So, I just instinctively yelled switch, to which he immediately pulls out of his girl and we switched. No beat missed. He tells me the next day as the girl I was originally ducking started crying as she was riding my buddy. He doesn't like me anymore, does he? I also had the worst hangover and asked the girl I was seeing at the time to come over. These were 2 different girls. I also have no morals and believe I am not human at times. Edit, just to make it easier. TLDR, had a foursome with a buddy and some girls. Yelled switch. Then had the girl I was seeing come over the next day. I've combed my hair with a dirty fork a time or 2. I'm as nasty as they come. I've jacked off on Omegle a couple times. I had one of Tinder date drive me to a second Tinder date. Went to some rave back in 2010 and got high as a kite on some Mdma. Lost my group of friends and was just cruising around the venue enjoying the scenery. Notice a group of familiar faces in a section of the stands and decide to check that out. But as I'm walking up the stairs I see some 10/10 barely 18 looking girl wearing a bra, tutu and metallic booty shorts who looks me dead in the eyes and says that she loves me. Immediately start making out but she stops as I'm squeezing her ass and says she has a boyfriend but her friends want to play too. I look to the left and there's 5 of her friends staring at me smiling. Naturally I saunter on over and attempt to introduce myself but it's so loud nobody can hear me. I sit down between them and proceed to make out with each of them one after the other. Tits in my face. Hands on my crotch as I was feeling up the girls to my left and right. Best night of my life. Ducked a guy's wife while he watched. Made a throwaway to tell this shameful tale. Had 6 in a bush for an Oz. $300 of weed. The guy had a girlfriend. So not only is it terrible that it was for drugs and technically a form of prostitution, he was also cheating. All up I'd give myself 3 slut points. +1 public 6. +1 cheating 6. 1 + 6 for profit. That's dank kush. This happened in prison. We were in an 8-man cell, 4 bunk beds, and everyone in the cell was gay friendly. I had sex with all 7 of my cellmates, regularly. Every night I would have some sort of sex with at least a couple guys, some more often than others. A couple of times one or another of my cellmates expressed disappointment that I hadn't visited his bunk the previous night, despite me telling them that all they had to do was let me know. Apparently I am not too good at getting the hint. So after a while I started putting a sign-up list on the wall. I had it printed out at the library, made to look like the other sign-up lists we had to use to do stuff like go to the gym, library, sick call. So the list was pretty slutty. Probably my sluttiest one night was having some sort of sex with every cellmate in the cell. Did that a couple of times I guess. Funny thing is, I'm not gay. I didn't have a sex with men before prison and I haven't had sex with anyone since I got out. I guess I'm just a people pleaser. Took home a younger girl I had known for a while. Saw her at the bar after she came back to town and had immediate sexual attraction. Told myself I gotta try and ended up smooth talking my way to her place. I had a little too much to drink, and it took me forever to come. So I finally go all out with the typical balls deep pounding routine. She's into it and starts screaming and yelling duck me harder and I finally come. I crash there. She leaves and tells me I can jet when I'm ready. I go eat a bowl of her cereal, and her mom walks in. She had been there the night before. Said I sounded good and she wanted to try too. So I banged her mom and her cheap ass kitchen table, put up the cereal and left. Never spoke to either again. I had a three-way with two girls. One of the girls started texting me a month later wanting to sext. I was on Skype with her younger sister watching her masturbate with a pink highlighter. I love to eat their ass out and kiss them afterwards. Blacked out and had sex with my ex and his best friend. Had sex with a 43-year-old when I was 20. Sex with my dorm bra that I had met 10 minutes before. Sex in a cemetery with a guy I met on Zanga. Did cam shows and posted nudes online. Had sex with a random from CL in his truck for less than 10 minutes and never spoke to him. Gave a guy a blowjob on the side of the road. Gave a guy a blowjob at a movie theater and then ducked him while his parents were awake in the next room. Had sex with a guy at a motel because my best friend and I wanted to have ducked the same dude. Once had sex with a guy so he would sell me cheaper weed. I'm a hoe. I kissed a girl on our third date on the lips. I ducked somebody for a toothbrush. When I was 18 I was working at Arby's and banging my manager at the time. We had open campus lunch, which means we can leave for an hour and go get some food then come back. She would pick me up for lunch. We would drive to block to the church. Drive to the backside of the parking lot where you couldn't see us from either street and I would then proceed to duck her brains out. This went on for 6 months. Oh my, where do I start? I'll just have to name a few. I'm not good at formatting so let's hope this comes out right. Once my boyfriend at the time, now ex, was on his way to pick me up to go to Vegas together. I was waiting and smoking with a friend in his backseat and one thing led to another and we ended up ducking. My boyfriend actually drove past our car while he was stroking me. Anyway, the friend came inside me. I loaded up in my ex's car. And 4 hours later when we arrived ducked my ex. He commented how I was extra wet that day. I'm so sorry. I used to send naked Snapchats to a couple of brothers. My favorite thing to do was initiate with each of them and have them both masturbating to me at the same time in the same house. I also like seeing who would come faster. IDK. Me and my current boyfriend have ducked on my friend's bed right in front of him and I've sucked his D in front of him too. My friend has also recorded some of this on Snapchat. Police have caught me and my boyfriend having public sex 3 times this month. Once I was ass naked riding him and a cop pulled up and shone his light on me. Fun times. Anyway, that's all I remember off the top of my head, but there's probably a few more stories if anyone wants them. Also, I know cheating is bad but my ex was cheating on me too. It was kind of an unspoken open relationship. I've been 100% faithful to my current boyfriend. Just for some clarity. Over 6 hours and know your mom joke. Whoa, the world really is changing. I once had sex with an ex. Went home and showered. I then had sex with a different ex later that afternoon. Went home and showered. Then, that night, I had sex with a girl I was trying to date. FFM threesome with sisters. Good times. When you do something like this the focus has to be about them and not you. To be young and horny. I took Dorothy Mantleff out for a nice seafood dinner and then never called her back. A girl I met online a long time ago paid to fly me to SC to have a sex with her all weekend and flew me home. She paid me $500 right before I flew home. I had been single for 3 years prior and had not gotten laid in that long. So I was ready to duck almost any female that looked at me. Turns out the girl outweighed me by almost 100 pounds. Was worth it. Got laid and paid. Flew home and that was that. This was probably 13 years ago. Went to a party for the sole reason of getting laid. Noticed 2 guys who would fit the bill nicely. Couldn't make up my mind, so I slept with both. At the same time. Woke up between 2 Marines. I call it patriotic. I knew a girl through a friend. Because he would hook up with her occasionally. We were at an event at a hotel. And he hooked up with her, with the express consent of his current girlfriend. A little while later he told me that she told him that she thought I was cute. And she was sleeping in our room. I went back to the room a couple hours later. And found her sleeping in my bed. I climbed in. And was just going to go to sleep. But she woke up about 5 minutes later. We talked for a few minutes and then started having sex. She stayed at the event longer than planned. We hooked up several more times that weekend, have met up at other events, and are now good slutty friends. She's awesome. Colon.